One thing I should have noted previously on the other video is if you don't have a home farm, feel free to select a local field near your home, or even use the Kirkwood field that we just used here, whichever works for you. Alright, so now that you've got your area of interest, your field selected, let's take a look at some of the data that's available to us. So if we click on that second tab over up here, it says soil map. What you'll see is on the right hand side in the map area now is actually the different soil series that are in the field. So if you remember back, we talked about 12 soil orders, major groupings. Those orders are divided down into more precise and more precise areas until you get to the soil series, which is a very specific description of the types of soil. And so you can see in our field here, we've got 133, 83B, 381B, 293D2, 284C, and a 284B. Now, just a quick reference here, anytime you have no letter on the end, it means the field is basically flat, 0 to 2%. If anytime you see a B behind the letter indication, it means you have a slope between 2 and 5%. A C indicates a slope between 5 and 9%. And a D indicates a slope between 9 and 18%. So just looking at this field, just without looking at any other soil data, I can very quickly say, well, you know, this area down in here is pretty flat. You can see right up here where in this area with the 284C, I'm getting a little steeper. And then this far corner over here, which is behind that terrace, gets pretty steep. It's up around 12-14%. So just by looking at this map and the letters on the map, I can right away see some slope and where areas of the field may or may not be different slopes. All right, so that's the soil map in the field. Left-hand side, we have the map unit legend. Left-hand side of the legend over here where my mouse is, you can see we've got the map unit symbols corresponding with the symbols over here in the map. So 83B really is referring to the name Kenyan loam. And you can see a B soil, 2 to 5% slope. And I can also tell you right away it's 16.8 acres of my field, which again, remember the previous slide, we determined it was 35.1 acres. 16 of that, or not quite half, is a 2 to 5% Kenyan loam. So if I click on the map unit name, it'll pop up a little bit of information. And so here's some information about this particular soil type. It's got a particular elevation above the sea level. It typically forms in areas that have an annual precipitation between 29 and 37 inches. Iowa runs right about 35, 36-ish. Normally we have about 160 to 195 days of frost-free growth period during this time. Forms on hillsides. So it's typically found somewhere on a hillside, not found on the plains generally. The shape is a convex. Remember there's two shapes. There's concave, which means the slope kind of caves in as it slopes down. And then you've got convex, which means the slope kind of forms almost like a bowing out U as it goes down the slope. Parent material is typically loamy sediments, which when you did your texture, you discovered it was a silt loam or a clay loam soil. And it's typically over a glacial till. So glaciers, many years back, deposited and created the initial parent material for the soil. Some other properties to look at. Depth to solid rock is more than 80 inches, so you can build a foundation here pretty easily. It's moderately well drained, so tile typically is not needed, but it may be in certain instances. What else? Depth to water table is between 48 and 72 inches. Certain soil types have it shallower and some have it deeper. And you can see the typical profile down here. It's a lot of loam soils. And so just some very quick things we can find by looking in the map unit legend of the soils map that we have created for our field.